Hi, I'm Helena. I'm a product manager here at Geckoboard, and today I'm going to show you how to connect your Shopify and Facebook ads data and build a cool e-commerce dashboard.
Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is connect my Facebook ads to my Shopify store. The reason to do this is because it can make your advertising more effective, because you'll be linking people who are visiting your store to the people seeing your ads, and you can better tailor your advertising to them. So what I'm going to do is go into my online store preferences, and then you select Facebook pixel. I'm going to connect my account. And I'm going to select my business manager that owns the ad account I wish to connect. I'm going to skip the domain verification for now. And now I can select the ad account I wish to connect. We'll accept the terms. And when I've accepted them, that becomes checked, and I can now click done. So I can see that I don't have an existing business page found. So I'm just going to jump into my Facebook settings and make sure that I give myself permission to the page. So I've just made sure in the business manager that I gave myself admin access to the page I wanted to connect, which is associated with the ad account. With that connected, now I can select the target country. Most of our advertising is in the United States, let's say. So I'm gonna select that as the country. And finally, we can finish the setup. Great, and now we're ready to use Facebook marketing to create custom audiences and better target our advertising at the people who are already visiting our store or interested in the store. Now that we're optimizing our advertising, let's make sure that we're also tracking how it's performing. So let's build an e-commerce dashboard like this one. Starting from scratch, this won't take more than 10 minutes. Let's get started. So I'm going to start by adding some Shopify widgets, and then later on I will add some Facebook ads widgets. So with Shopify, we can see there are already some pre-built widgets. Definitely interested in tracking my orders for the day. I'm just going to connect my Shopify store. And that's done. And now we're importing data. Importing data from the last month means that it's going to be faster to build our widgets once the data is imported. I'm just going to continue adding some widgets in the meantime. So other than today's orders, I also want to know how many, what's the value of sales today? I will go back and another one. And then we definitely want to see some trends over time in both orders and sales. And we can see now our import has completed. So all of our widgets added so far are showing data now. So I'm just going to group my widgets for today. And put them right in the corner of the dashboard so they're always visible. And then we can make them more useful to the rest of the company by adding some context to this information. For example, we might have a monthly or daily or weekly sales goal. So in this case, since our metric is for today, maybe we want to make sure that we have, let's say, 60,000 sales per day. And today we've already exceeded that. And then with the number of orders, it's always useful to compare to a period of time in the past. So we can set our compare to previous period. And instead of yesterday, let's compare to the same day last week so that we have a more accurate comparison. Cool. Now we have our order volume widget over the last month, and I'll just add the same one for sales. Again, just so we can see trends over time. So again, with total sales, even on a widget like this, we can set a goal. For example, maybe we want to always be above 100K. So if I set that as the goal, everything above 100K gets highlighted. And we can extend this out to this month so that we can see for the whole month. And I'll just update this widget to match. So again, we're going to set this month. Now, if you're receiving orders from different countries, we could also split this volume chart by, for example, currency or country. So let's do billing country. In my case, it's quite noisy now. So I will just filter kind of to our top selling countries, just to only show those. So let's pick. Let's just do UK and United States. And so now we can see just those two countries. Obviously, we can add more if we want to. I'll just put these trend ones along the bottom. They're not as important as the information here that we want to act on immediately. Okay, so I'm going to add a few more Shopify widgets. So another good one to always track is our average order value, especially if we're interested in making sure it stays above a certain level. So here we can see ours for the past 7 days. And what we can do is close this menu and just add some color to the gauge to better highlight where we want to be versus where we don't want to be. For example, let's say we always want it to be above 500 euros, and we don't want it to go below 400. So now that I've added that, you can see this area turns green because we are in the success state. If we would dip down, it would turn red. So it would draw your eye to the chart. Okay, let's add our final couple of widgets. So now looking at some of these towards the bottom, these widgets provide a bit more context about the information, kind of our top line sales and orders. So let's add a traffic referrer leaderboard. So you can see which pages are driving the most traffic. Okay, and let's add one more. We can track why customers are canceling their orders. And this is data I want to extend to a longer period of time. So we can see most of our cancellations are customer driven. Cool, so now I'll just tidy these widgets up. Last thing, we might want to have kind of a sales widget that is not just for today, but for the whole month or the whole year. And so we can do that. Maybe we have a goal for this month so far. Let's say our goal is 3 million. And now we can see where we are on the way to that goal. So this would be our sales this month. Great. So I will make these widgets slightly smaller because they're not as important. Cool, now that we have some Shopify data on here, let's bring in our Facebook ads. Just going to pick one of the widgets here. Amount spent is definitely always relevant. I'm going to connect our ad account. And now we can see our amount spent in the past 7 days. We can compare that to the previous 7 days, just for some context. Let's add a few more widgets. So we might want to track our conversions. For example, we might be tracking signups to our store or purchases. So you can see we have one completed registration, and we can filter in particular if we want to see it just for a specific campaign. So in this case, I'm going to set my campaign. Cool. And again, we can add a comparison on the previous period. For example, instead of 7 days, maybe we're tracking this month compared to last month. Last month we didn't have any, so that one's a bust. So I'm just going to duplicate this widget to more easily add a similar version where we just track cost per registration. And again, we can do this month versus last month for the same campaign. And now I can group those two widgets to show that they are reporting on data for the same campaign. So we might want to track our reach across all campaigns. And again, we can do that maybe for the whole month as a line chart. And we can group that with our amount spent as kind of overall ad performance. This month. And I will just edit this widget to match the time period. This month. Cool. And sometimes with monetary metrics, you want to make sure you don't go over a certain number. So we're just going to set a warning. If we exceed 500, then we want a big warning to readjust our spending. Spend. This is for last month. And this is showing us up to the same date last month. So it's not comparing to the whole of last month. Cool. Let's add a couple more widgets to finish filling up our dashboard. Facebook ads. We can click build your own widget, and then we can choose for more metrics that are not pre-built. Great. So if we expand this menu, now we can see there's a lot more options that are possible. Let's track our cost per impressions. Cool. So this is our CPM. I'm going to duplicate this widget again. And maybe we can track our purchase ROAS. In this case, there's no data to visualize because we haven't had any purchases in 7 days. But once there is data, this widget will show it. One last thing we could do with metrics like CPM, we can again group them by publisher platform, for example, if we switch the visualization, and now we can see how much we're spending on each platform. And that's it. We have a finished dashboard. With all of our key metrics, we have set warnings and success states onto our widgets so that we know and everyone else knows when they're performing good or bad. Now, the last thing to do is to give your dashboard a name. And you can share it with somebody else by creating a sharing link, sharing the dashboard in Slack at regular intervals, or inviting other people as collaborators. You can also schedule email snapshots to be sent to your email address every day or every week so that you always know how your store is performing. I hope this is useful, and if you have any questions, do let us know.